What are examples of a good return on investment besides VC will be helpful when the disaster happens? Regina, could we have your thoughts on this first, please?
Sure, and I would say, first of all, to all the listeners in this particular program, that this really is what I would say to each and every one of you, is that this is your homework assignment from this webinar that you're listening to today. And I would really ask all of you, after you're done with this call today, to really sit and think about what are examples and ways that you can say that your program provides value to the overall organization, whether it's broadly across your program or something that might be, as we just heard about, individual pockets within the group. So I would say that all of you need to come up with probably at least 7, 8, 9, 10 of those. And let me just give you a few things for you to think about. So a classic example on return on investment is regulatory compliance. So even if your organization is not subject to requirements from an external regulator, it may be in the future, but also your customers might have requirements. Increasingly, here in the United States in particular, there are many organizations who work with the banking sector, and they are required actually to have all of the same compliance-related issues as the federally regulated banking organizations. So that might be one example. The second might be a competitive advantage, the fact that your company has a well-established program. So whether it's the supply chain continuity planning or something in crisis management or communications or your ITDR resiliency program, those are all competitive advantages that you can sell your business to when you're talking to your big customers about how you will actually continue to be in practice. There's also a great opportunity for brand and reputation protection. So think about the current cyber breaches that are happening around the world and the incredible impact to brand and reputational damage because of how things were managed or not managed. So that's another example. Another could be risk identification. Because of our programs and the risk assessments that we provide, we have really great data that we can really help to ensure that our locations around the world are actually as safe as possible based on their risk profile. We can have operational improvements. So as we do a BIA in the business continuity plan, we can actually determine ways that we can actually be more efficient and effective on a daily basis. So we can actually increase awareness. We can make operational improvements that may not actually happen because of that particular activity. We also have knowledge capture. So think of a business continuity plan as a training document. So if you're trying to train new employees, look at that great document you've got that tells exactly what's mission critical and what needs to get done. And then also we have the ability of increased robustness in the sense that we actually are able to ensure that we can maintain through even small disruptions and, of course, the large ones. And then also you might have cost savings. You might have cost savings through insurance or other programs related to your programs. So there could be cost savings. So I just mentioned 8 right there. So I would encourage all of you to think about the other ones that you might have as well that you could add to that, or maybe other ones that are completely different. But you should have a list. I call it an elevator speech. When your boss says to you, what are you doing that provides value to this company, you should not have to think 1 second. You should be able to literally spit out 8 to 10 things right away that your program is doing on a daily basis.
Thanks very much, Gina. And I have to say your comment there has just started off a flurry of questions. So that's good food for thought there, hey? So, Matt, can we have your thoughts on the question, please?
Yeah, absolutely. And Regina hit the head there is you got to come up with as many ideas as possible. And there's a lot of resources out there. So obviously this conversation we're having right now is a resource, but there's a lot of resources out there that can help you with those things. And all of you sit on different committees and you're with your regional partners, with your business partners within your organization. So, really what you need to work on is look at, what keeps each individual awake at night, what keeps you up at night. And as David mentioned earlier too, it's about the small successes too. It's working within each organization or each department. So, if I'm, part of, some of my asset protection, or maybe I'm looking at, refrigeration units. So if a refrigeration unit goes out, how do we respond to that? How do we make sure that we don't lose millions of dollars worth of product or research? So when you start to really look at each organization or each department within your organization as how can we help those things? How can we help each one of those on an individual basis, and really start to spread that out? And that way, it's really easy. It's really easy to quantify, when you do have those things. So whether, again, it is, refrigeration units, whether it's an IT outage, those are the things that you want to be looking at is within each organization, each of my colleagues, or within each of my, my other committee members, is what keeps them awake at night. What are they worried about? And then how can I help that? How can I help, make sure that they're protected as well? And that really will raise the awareness within the organization and make it a lot easier, as Regina mentioned, when somebody asks you, what do you do? Here's all the people that I help, and here's all the organizations within my teams that I help.
Matt, some really engaging points there. And David, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, I was listening to someone else talking about business continuity recently, and they said that strategy is about how the organization can work, and business continuity is about how the organization won't work. And I've got to say, I don't agree with that. I think he was missing a point, because actually our activities and strategy are at times really closely aligned. And I just want to give one example, if I may. I was doing some work with a large company which has gone through a process of acquisition. So there's a lot of change going on, and the business continuity activity was about getting aligned and understanding the whole picture. So that bit we used to call understanding the business was absolutely crucial, and the output of that was value, and it was things like being able to explain the value chain and being able to understand the interdependencies and the whole supply chain through to, the kind of outputs I'm talking about. Now, what really made me feel that we've achieved some value is when the strategy team started using my PowerPoints to explain how the business was going to work. And if we can get to that stage, we've kind of brought our business continuity activity into the mainstream, and we're supporting delivery of the business objectives.